Oh,
Let me get started here.
all right. It's 10:30. Good morning, everybody. We were discussing our English language. We're going to get started today. We're talking about structuring your business. So Al Morrison is here to speak to us about that. Just so you guys know, this is being recorded. So you will get a copy of it in an email along with the slides later today, possibly tomorrow morning, depending on how my day goes. And then you can also raise your hand to speak to Al. You can type in the chat or you can type in the Q&A. And Al usually periodically pauses to address questions. So feel free to go ahead and do that. And with that, I will hand it over to Al.
Thank you. Thank you. We are going to talk about legally structuring your business. And in the next 20 minutes, we are going to make you dangerously uh, aware. So you'll have just enough information to be dangerous in structuring your business. So this morning, our agenda is going to be an introduction to SCORE, talking about small business and why it's important, and the overview of structures. So the SCORE organization is a national organization started in 1964. And today we have over 10,000 volunteer mentors spread over 200 chapters. We're a resource partner of the SBA, the Small Business Administration. Locally serving the Mahoning, Medina, Portage, Summit, and Wayne counties, we have about 330 plus experienced mentors. Some have been with us as long as 10, 12 years. Since we started in Akron, the Akron chapter in 1965, we helped over 5,000 clients in one way or another. Some have started businesses, some have decided it's not for them, but we've helped a ton of folks. We'd love to help you. And the way we help you is through mentoring and education. And our mission is to help small business communities or small businesses through mentoring and education. And our vision is that every person, every business will have the support that's necessary to thrive. We haven't got there yet. We've been at it since 1965. Our vision is that every business, we may never get there, but that's our vision, to make sure that small businesses thrive. Our mentoring is one-on-one, it's free, and it's confidential. And we have people that have been there, done that, started businesses, run businesses, grown businesses. We're here to help you. And if you just have one question, feel free to contact us. We'll answer that question and off you go. But you may want to stick around. I have clients that I've had for over 12 years. We don't get together as often as we used to, but we'll get together twice a year just to talk about business and do some planning and some strategizing. That's just fine. So from the time it's a twinkle in your eye until the time you're making so much money you don't need us anymore, is we'll be there to mentor you, counsel you, coach you, advise you, whatever term you like best. We also do workshops. You're part of one on structuring your business. We do it on starting your business, business planning, financial management, marketing, and others. And if you want to know our current schedule, you can go to akron.score.org and find our current schedule of workshops that we're running out of the Akron chapter. If you want to schedule a mentor, go to akron.score.org and request a mentor, or you can call our office. As Laura said, you're going to get a copy of these slides afterwards, so you don't need to take notes here. You just get a copy of this. So, small business, why is it important? It's important because small business represents 99.8% of all businesses based on their employer identification number. 99.8% of all businesses are small businesses. And you drive down Main Street, USA, and they're on the right, they're on the left, they're little shops, little restaurants, salons, barbershops, small businesses. There are over 27 million of those of us here in the US, and 600 and some thousand are formed new every single year. We're a really important engine of economic growth in the US because small businesses create over 75% of new jobs. Think of that. 3 out of 4 new jobs, not the ones where you got laid off and they call you back, new jobs that didn't exist last year or the year before, 75% of those are created by small businesses. Small business employs half of the entire workforce in the US. So 1 out of 2 people works for a small business. They represent half of all goods and services that we produce here in the US. And 95% of small businesses have fewer than 20 employees. So there's lots and lots of us, because I own a couple of small businesses myself. There's lots of us that are here. So, legal structure overview. There's a lot of ways to structure your business. You can have it bootleg, and we'll talk about each one of these. It can be a bootleg, you can have personal ownership, you can have corporate ownership, it could also be not-for-profit. I'm going to skip not-for-profit this morning because we do a whole webinar on not-for-profit. So if you're interested in that, go check our website and sign up for the not-for-profit. So what's a bootleg business? Could it be the lemonade stand you had in your mom's front yard years and years ago? You fly under the radar. It's a cash business, right? Put the money in the coffee can. You don't pay any taxes. The risk, though, is all on you. You can't go public, and if you get caught, who knows? So if you're running a large business, bootleg is definitely not recommended for a business at our age and stage in life. So please make it legal. So how do you make it legal? Well, there's a couple of ways to do it. And the only things that matter when you think about structuring your business is legal liability. In other words, if the wheels come off the bus, what happens to you as the owner? And what are the tax implications? So the only 2 things that really matter. There's personal ownership, and that's one form. Personal ownership can be a sole proprietorship. That's just me or just you. It could be a general partnership, which could be me and you and a couple of our close friends. There can be an unlimited number of partners or owners, and you can add partners at any time. So it's the very easy way to start a business. Legal liability, the partners, the owners are totally responsible if the wheels come off the bus. And if you're in a low risk business, that's fine, because it's really easy. Taxes are simple. Ownership is simple. Register your name on the Secretary of State's website. It costs you $99 and you're in business. The way you pay taxes is you pay taxes personally. It's single taxation. In other words, the money passes directly to you, so you don't pay a corporate tax. Doesn't get easier than this. So an example, why might you want to have a sole proprietorship or a partnership? So I had a client, she was a piano teacher. And she would come to your home and teach piano lessons on your piano in your living room to your children. Works great. Very low risk business. I mean, you're not going to sue her because your kid can't play his piano, I don't think. So it's very simple. It's very low risk for her. And so she formed a sole proprietorship, and that was her business, to teach piano lessons. The next structure is corporate ownership. There are 3 fundamental types of corporations. There's the limited liability corporation, or the LLC, and we'll talk about each one of these. There's the S Corp and C Corp. And they're, in terms of protection from lawsuit or anything like that, they all give you the same level of protection. However, the taxation can be a little different. Legal liability, the corporation takes total responsibility. So it puts a wall called the corporate veil up between you and the outside world. So if anything happens, the wheels come off the bus for any reason, you're protected. And if there's any risk involved, you perceive any risk, that's the best deal, is form a corporation. Don't put yourself at risk, your car and your cat and your cookies and your kids, don't put them at risk, form a corporation. The taxes in a C corporation can be very complicated. They can be somewhat complicated in a C, but in an LLC, they can be very, very simple. And the risk reduction is well worth the structure. So let's come back to my piano teacher. She decides that she could take more students if the students came to her house, rather than she spending all her time driving to various homes. So that means that mom and the children are going to be walking up her slippery driveway, walking up her slippery steps, tripping on her rug in her front hall. So that means there is some risk involved because it's now in her house on her land. So she formed an LLC that protects her if something happens on her property or in his living room when she's teaching piano lessons. So that's the evolution of where she came, formed an LLC. LLC is the simplest form of the three types of corporations. Let's talk about the S Corp first. S Corporation can have shareholders, they're owners. You buy stock, but it can only have up to 100 shareholders. Shareholders must be US citizens, which may not be an issue for anybody, but it could be. There's no foreign ownership. The way you raise money is through the sale of stock. The way you raise money in an LLC is the owners put it in. With an S Corp, you must have a board of directors legally. You're subject to single taxation. So it passes right through you directly. There's a certain amount of administration to do that if there's more than one partner involved. So there can be some administration and an annual audit, although not mandated. The owners might want one, so you might end up paying for an annual audit. So an S corporation is a little more complicated. The C corporation, which is what you find most often on the stock exchange, for example, the New York Stock Exchange, the American Exchange, General Motors, Ford, Maytag, all your big companies are C corporations because they have an unlimited number of shareholders. They can have international shareholders, and they raise money through the sale of stock, hundreds and hundreds of shares. They also must have a board of directors because of all the shareholders and all the requirements by the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission. There's a fair amount of administration involved, so it's more complicated, and I don't recommend that for small businesses. The annual audit is mandatory because it's regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. And in all cases, it's subject to double taxation. In other words, the corporation first pays taxes on its income, then it gives its dividends to you, and you pay taxes on what's left of that dividend. So it's double taxation. For the big corporations, the unlimited number of shareholders and the international shareholders makes it worthwhile. And the administration again makes it worthwhile. So what do we do as small business owners? I'm a big fan of the LLC, the limited liability corporation. With an LLC, the owners are called members, and I have no idea why. They're called members. Funds are raised by the members. You can add members at any time, take members away at any time. It's the best of all worlds for a small business because you have the full corporate veil protection from lawsuit or loss or debt, whatever that might be. And interestingly enough, the IRS calls it a disregarded entity for tax purposes, which are pass-through taxation. In other words, the money you make passes right through the LLC, comes directly to you. So it's a pass-through entity or a disregarded entity. There's only single taxation. You can't go public, can't sell stock. You can bring members in, but you can't sell stock. And it may not be right for you if you want to do business internationally. It may not be. There's could be some complications there. So remember, in the legal structure, there are only two things that matter: legal liability, whose ox gets gored if something happens, and the tax implications. There's the sole proprietorship, which is just you, and you pay your taxes, and you have all the legal liability. There's the general partnership, which is more than one. The partners have equal legal liability, and they also pay their taxes. The LLC protects you from any legal liability, and the taxes pass right through to you. The S corporation has limited number of members. It sells stock, or number of owners, has limits on who can own stock. C corporation kind of opens that up, so anybody can own stock anywhere in the world, and there's unlimited number of shareholders. The one we talked about first is your bootleg corporation, which isn't any legal structure at all. And that puts you at severe risk if anything happens or if you get caught. The IRS has no sense of humor when it comes to bootleg corporations, bootleg organizations, I will tell you that. I have watched what they have done to some distant friends of mine. So having said that, I'm open to questions at this point.
All right, everybody, go ahead, type your questions, raise your hand, or type in the chat. I'll give you guys a minute.
So in 15 minutes, we've made you dangerously smart.
Watch out.
Yeah, man, go get them. But it's not that complicated. All right. It isn't that hard. And if you're thinking about trying to make a decision about it, get yourself a SCORE advisor. Let them talk you through it and work through it and decide what's best for you long term and short term, what you want to do and how you want to start your business and so forth. So
So far, no questions.
I'm good, but I don't think I'm that good. I have no questions. I mean,
Oh, I got one.
oh, good.
What are the potential international complications with an LLC?
One, you can't have international shareholders, so you can't have members that are owners. And if you grow and you want to have members internationally, there may be some tax implications, and I'm not a tax person, so I can't answer that question for you. I talk to your accountant in terms of what that means to you, where you are creating funds offshore. Share, where should we start when looking for insurance? Depending what kind of insurance you're looking for, I would look to the person you currently have your car insurance, homeowners insurance, or motorcycle insurance or boat insurance, whoever's insuring you already. If you want to add your business in, it's always easier if you're dealing with somebody that knows you. If you don't have anyone, I would talk to one of the big guys for insurance on your business. What you're looking for is liability insurance, so that if the wheels come off the bus, they're going to protect you the same as you do with your car. You have liability insurance that covers you in an accident where you're at fault. It covers the other guy's car damage, legal bills, medical bills, and so forth. So that's what insurance you would want, is liability insurance.
If you want to create a foundation or give to college students, what are your recommendations?
If you want to create a foundation, just the fact you're using foundation means you're looking probably for a not-for-profit corporation, 501c3. If you want to collect money from donors and give it away to college students, that's the form that you're looking for.
All right. Oh, does SCORE have a resource explaining pros and cons of where to register your LLC?
There are no really pros and cons. There's only one place to do it in Ohio, and that's the Secretary of State's website. That's the only way to do it. So you log on, you create yourself an account so they collect your money, and then you go to the place where it says form a new business. It'll ask you what kind, and you tell it you want an LLC, a for-profit LLC, and you answer all the questions, and away you go.
All right, you're caught up. Al,
Yes. Am I?
yes.
Good.
Go ahead.
Let's I said I was going to give them 20 minutes to become experts, so I still have another minute to go.
I have another question. Can you make donations through an LLC?
You can, but those donations are not tax deductible. So if I give $100 to my church, that is tax deductible. If I give $100 to General Motors, that is not tax deductible. If I give my donation to a for-profit business, that is not tax deductible. You can do it. Not exactly sure why you would, but you can. It's just that a donor's donation is not tax deductible at the end of the year. And if you want to get tax deductible donations, I recommend you form a 501c3, and we tell you how to do that in our webinar on not-for-profit basics. I'm sorry, Laura.
No, you're fine. Somebody raised their hand, but then took it down.
You got a hand up?
No, they took it down.
Oh, maybe there's waving.
They're just waving.
Okay, that's good.
All right, everybody, what else you got?
Okay, with no more questions, then you all have a wonderful day. It's sunshine, blue sky in my corner of the galaxy this morning, so I'm happy about that, although we're just barely into double digits in terms of temperature.
It is
Beautiful
chilly.
day. So spring is just around, not the corner, but just around the block. So a little further off.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Again, you'll get this video as well as the slides later today. So have a good day, everybody. Stay warm, and thank you again now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.